Hey, cool bats and bittens. It's me, John, again. I say bat and bittens because I've got a strong following of vampires. The reason being is they looked at my skin tone, which is exceedingly fair, and they thought I was one of them, but not the case. But they've given me a lot of support over the years, and I welcome them to join the live feed. But today we're gonna actually do a little classroom funhouse with John, and I'm doing this because I know a lot of parents are out there and they're trying to, teach their kids at this time, and as I always say, you never know who your true kid is until you become their teacher. Yeah, you try and sit down for a parent-teacher conference with yourself. Should teach you. Anyway, I've got the whiteboard knowledge here. We'll be doing our physics problems today. So for those with physics homework, follow along. Also, I just want to note, I love how generic the whiteboard is on the back. Cost, development, sales, overall strategy. Like, we had to waste a giant post-it note to put those four words on there. There's a tree hugger in Brazil pulling their hair out. Well, anyway, alright, so we're actually going to be talking about bell curves, right? So we all know that there's three different type of bell curves. We have our traditional bell, of course, thusly. We have our bell jar curve. And then we actually have, thirdly and finally, we actually have our jingle bell. Jingle bell curves are usually denoted by the universal symbol for mistletoe. So when you see that in your story problems, kids, when it says, please make one of those, then go ahead and do that. Today we're just going to stick to a standard bell curve. So we've got to draw our a-axis and our nexus here, right? And then we've got to add the appropriate notches at the exact predetermined length here. And usually what will happen is you'll already be given the curve, right? And mostly, usually the story problem goes like, Mary has 3 apples and George has 8 oranges. Determine the area underneath the bell curve, right? Also, not sponsored by Sharpie, but that is my preferred way to diagram these things. And a thing to think about, does anyone know the mother brand for Sharpie? I rest my case. Now, there's going to be a couple factors that determine how you decide the area of your bell curve, okay? So we're going to draw it out again right here. You got your bell curve. Now, sometimes in story problems, they'll throw you curves, right? So they'll say, here's a standard bell curve, but up in the corner, we've got 3 egotistical men. One is a class A narcissist. Man 2 is a chauvinist. And man 3 has attachment issues. What is the weight of the curve to that area? Now you've got to take into this account, including a lot of childhood baggage. So, and the narcissist, of course, right here in the center, will have the most gravitational pull of the bar. So that bar may actually start to dip in that direction, right? As you can see, the pull towards the narcissist. Now, sometimes the one with the attachment issues will try and reach out and grab the bar even closer, right? Okay. And the chauvinist will just look at the bar and make sure it wasn't created by a woman. And if that checks the box, he won't determine additional area under the curve. but you've added additional curve. Now, how do you account for particularly the narcissist? Well, there is a formula for this, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your first x value, so x equals NAR, which is the null number, over EGO. Okay, and EGO stands for E is for energy to deal with. G is gravity. Not like E equals mc squared gravity, but the gravity of how important they think they are. And the O stands for 0, which we all know at heart that's what they are. So we've got to take these numbers and implement them in. Okay, if you have a graphing calculator, it's going to be much easier, but you can do it on a piece of paper. I actually recommend a paper about this big because it's going to take you a while. So that is the number that you're going to want to plug into your calculator, and that will determine the pole of narcissist up here, and that will give you eventually the area right under the curve. So as I'm just kind of eyeballing it as a physics master, I'd say, we're probably at about a volume of 2.3 fluid ounces, so it can still go through security at the airport. So you've won the race here. Again, you've dodged a couple bullets, and this blob has become a beautiful number at the end. So if you're having any questions about your kids' homework, feel free to reach out. I'm also an expert in The Great Gatsby, poetry by what's her name, and I'm also love Germanic history, particularly in the years between 1772 and 1773. So if any questions come up between that 1 year time period on your kids' history homework, feel free to reach out. Guys, it's been great. I felt invigorated by this exercise today, and we'll see you under the bell curve.